Let's talk about demolition. We're going to take a wrecking ball to some of the biggest myths out there and really get into the incredible science and precision that goes into safely bringing down a massive structure. Trust me, it is way more sophisticated than you probably think. When you picture a building coming down, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it just a giant steel ball on a chain swinging around, creating total chaos and dust everywhere? Well, if that's what you're thinking, get ready because the reality of modern demolition is going to completely surprise you. And that's because the industry has evolved so far beyond that old school image of just brute force. Today, it is all about precision. It's about meticulous planning. And more than anything, it's about an intense focus on safety. This quote right here, it absolutely nails it. This huge shift from just raw, destructive power to really meticulous control. That's the key. That's the secret to understanding how these massive structures are removed safely in our modern world. This really breaks it down perfectly. You see on the left, that's the old idea, just chaos and brute force. But the modern reality over on the right, it's all about precision engineering and controlled processes. It's not even destruction anymore. It's more like deconstruction. Honestly, it's the difference between a clumsy amputation and delicate surgery. So why is all this precision so incredibly important? Well, because the stakes are just unbelievably high. A demolition site is easily one of the most dynamic and, potentially dangerous work environments you can imagine. Let's dig into that a little bit. What is it about these sites that makes them so uniquely challenging, even when you compare them to a regular construction zone? Well, first, you've got the really obvious stuff. Buildings that are already unstable, that could collapse at any moment, and of course, falling debris. But then you have the hidden dangers, like asbestos or lead, just lurking inside the walls. Now add massive, heavy equipment to the mix, and the fact that a lot of these sites are literally right next to busy public streets, and you've got a recipe for some serious risk. And this is why it all matters so much. If you don't have modern safety protocols to manage all those risks, the consequences are pretty severe. The cost of getting it wrong is just way too high for the workers, for the project's timeline, and for the whole community. So how do these professionals turn all that potential chaos into a totally controlled process? Well, it all starts with a detailed blueprint for safety, and this happens long before a single wall even gets touched. A pre-demolition risk assessment is always the first step. It's not optional. This is where teams become experts on the building itself. They analyze it to predict exactly how it will collapse. They check everything nearby, they plan for traffic, and super importantly, they screen for all those hidden hazards we just talked about. So the big takeaway here is this. The goal is always controlled, selective dismantling. It's about taking a building apart piece by piece in a very specific, planned sequence, all to maintain total control and stability the entire time. And speaking of those hidden dangers, one of the most vital phases happens before any of the heavy machinery even shows up. Before that structure starts coming down, the most toxic stuff has to be carefully taken out first. So that means you have trained specialists who go in first to find and safely remove things like asbestos, lead-based paint, and mold. This isn't just some small safety step. It's an absolutely critical requirement for environmental and public health. You can't just knock everything down and hope for the best. Okay, so you have this amazing safety blueprint, but actually executing it successfully, that really comes down to two things: having the right technology, and maybe even more important, having the right people with the skills to use it. The technology they use today is just incredible. We're talking about massive machines with reinforced cabs to protect the operators, powerful dust suppression systems that mist the air to keep it clean, and even real-time monitors that track ground vibrations to make sure nearby buildings are completely safe. But here's the thing. All the amazing tech in the world doesn't really matter if you don't have a skilled professional at the controls. The single most important safety feature on any job site is, and it always will be, a well-trained, experienced operator. And that training is constant. It never stops. Crews are always getting updated on how to operate equipment safely, how to spot new hazards, and what to do in an emergency. Plus, they have to stay on top of super strict regulations from groups like OSHA. And this intense focus on safety doesn't just stop at the construction fence. It actually extends way out to protect the entire community around the site. Think about it, especially in a crowded city. Creating a secure perimeter is absolutely non-negotiable. This means high visibility fencing, clear warning signs, and coordinating with traffic control.
It also includes things like debris nets or even covered walkways to protect people and property right next door.
So when you put it side by side, the difference couldn't be more obvious. Without modern safety, you get high risks, expensive delays, and a danger to everyone. But with that safety-first approach, you get protected workers, projects that run smoothly, and most importantly, a safe community. So what's the bottom line in all of this? Well, for anyone who needs to hire a demolition team, choosing a contractor that puts safety first isn't just a nice to have. No, it is a critical investment in protecting their project, their money, and their reputation. So maybe this gives us a whole new way to look at demolition. Is the real story about the thing that's being torn down? Or is it actually about what we can build next on a foundation that was cleared the right way, safely, responsibly, and with absolute precision?